Good morning and welcome to DAS Today. Today we will be discussing American Slave Institute Incorporation's mission, American Slave Institution's vision, and American Slave Institution's goals. I am your host, Aaron, and I have with us today our Prime Minister, Dr. Gerald Higginbotham. Doc, how you doing this morning?
Man, I'm doing awesome, +1. And I'm so glad to be on the show today so we can be able to explain a little more about American Slave Inc., its mission, vision, and objectives. I'm excited.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We're excited to get started today. And we'll just get right into it, Doc. We're ready to get to 40,000 feet today.
Let's go.
You'll be our captain. Our tray tables are stowed away, and our seat backs are upright. We're ready for takeoff.
Hey, let's light the fire and kick the tire. We've been cleared for takeoff.
All right, all right. Well, wonderful. Well, today we'll be going over the American Slaves Incorporation mission, vision, and goals. I think it's important that our audience and our viewers understand what the American Slave Incorporation is truly about. Like any well-versed student, we need to understand the content and the direction that, organizations that we associate ourselves with are going. And that's why we have the Prime Minister with us. We understand there's a couple different organizations, structures, but we want to deal with the foundation. We want to deal with the American Slave Incorporation Foundation. We know it's a 501c3 non-for-profit, but give us some more insight on the organization itself, Jim.
Well, the ASI mission is to educate, empower, and enlighten Americans on the plight and promises of descendants of American slaves, while creating strategies to identify true emancipation from government dependency. And what we want to do, the organization, is want us to understand our true culture. Now, I'm going to get a little bit deep, just a little bit. And I think it's important that with us now shifting from an industrial-based society to the information age is now available to us. In the past, we've had to rely on other people to give us information. We've been dependent upon somebody for our food, shelter, clothing. And when you depend on somebody, they tend to give you misinformation too, to keep you locked into where you are. However, but the American Slave Inc., what it wants to do in its mission is to be able to educate, to empower, to enlighten America on the plight and promises of the descendants of American slaves. They need to understand who they are. We need to create strategies to identify emancipation from the government dependency, because the government has misled us. It has been towards their advantage, and they've locked our culture into the lowest level of a real-life monopoly game. And so we needed an organization that represent our interests, that won't tell us that we're immigrants or we're African Americans, but we are Americans. We are the descendants of American slaves, America's firstborn. So that mission statement is really significant in empowering those that have been locked into the lowest level of real life monopoly game, get out. So I'm excited about that piece.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that makes sense then from our previous videos and clips that we've posted on this channel to explain the mission of American Slave Incorporation, because it seems like it connects with the 14th Amendment and how it speaks to those two races within the Constitution. Would you agree?
I agree. And it also, what it does, that 14th Amendment have really took away the people's rights and really made them slaves to the federal government. Just keeping it 100% real. One thing that we all have to do is operate in truth. But our natural rights were taken away from us when they signed that 14th Amendment and locked us into America's system so we can pay taxes and not allow us to evolve and be the people that we are really supposed to be, and to have the God-given rights and have the birth rights here of America, North America actually.
Right.
Which really lends and lead us right into the vision. When you have the vision, understand the true vision of what we're about. And then you have the mission, The mission is what brings the vision about. So what I'd like to do, and if it's okay with you, and I don't want to get off course, but we talk about the vision.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk with such a robust mission statement. The vision has to be a solid foundation for that mission statement to land on. So yeah, please share.
Well, it's building the link to true emancipation. Emancipation is really about true freedom. And so our vision is to create a society which honors the accomplishment, recognize the spirit, and uplift the images of the American slaves. A society that will explain to the descendants of slaves the advantage of them accepting their true identity and then releasing them to truly seek economic emancipation into the mainstream of America. Because Aaron, once our parents, our great-great-grandparents were once sold in mainstream. And they never did when they released them 159 years ago from slavery, or quote, quote, they didn't teach them about how to enter into mainstream America. They didn't teach them about leadership. They didn't give them no economic emancipation for their years of service, free labor in this country. So we have to have a vision. It's been said, where there's a vision, people will prosper. Flip side, where there's no vision, the people will perish. And so what we are now doing, we're putting a vision in place so that the American slave culture can reach its full potential.
So if I may, when it says in the vision, recognizes the spirit, because I know, while we all, are living in carnal bodies, for the lack of better terms, we're living in this flesh and blood right now. How would you recognize the spirit of our forefathers, the spirit of our ancestors that came to this continent against their own will? How would you describe that spirit? Has anybody asked you that, first of all?
No, no one has ever asked me that. And I'd have to think about that for a second. Recognizing that we're tripartite beings. We are spirits, we possess souls, and we live in physical bodies. What they did was they broke the human spirit. Actually, they took their minds from them. The spirit is the life, it's the energy, but the mind is what controls the spirit. And what they did was they mentally took away that mindset of being free people and then forced them into manual labor. You break a person by taking away their soul, their mind. And that's what happened. See, the spirit is the energy. It is the life source that gives this body life. But it's your mind, your will, your imagination, your emotion, and your intellect. Your soul realm give your spirit its personality. And so they took their mindset from them. And that's where we are today. And so what we are now doing is giving their mindset back. The spirit comes from our creator. However, but your soul, your mind, will, imagination, emotion, and intellect give your spirit its personality. And so we've lost that because of slavery. And only we make an internal decision that we're going to get it back. You have to, the word I want to use is that you have to be proactive. You have to become the change that you want to see. And you have to have the mindset, if it is to be, it's up to me. The word slave is just a word that man took it in a negative way. So I said if one man could take it in another way, another man could take it in another way. And that's what I did. I owned that name slave. I copyrighted it. And when you copyright something, you now have the power to define the narrative. And so I have redefined that narrative. Really, slave to me, it means we're spirits, we have souls, we're special, we're spontaneous. The letter L means we're leaders, we're lovers, we're learners. The letter A means we're awesome, we are anointed, we are appointed, we are achievers. The letter V means we're victorious, we're vivacious. We're about victory, we're in it to win it. The letter M means we excel, we're excited, we're exuberant. We are enablers. We're action oriented. We're doers. And so that word to me, I see it from a different perspective. And that name represents really our culture. That's who we are. And we own America. We have to look at things totally differently. I tell people looking only at what you see keeps you from becoming who you can be. And
Oh,
see, we've been off course, but the good news is now that we're on course. We have a vision, we have a mission. And as we execute that mission, the vision will come to pass, my brother.
well, thank you for sharing
Just
that
got
with you,
fired up.
Prime Minister. No. I'm glad that you shared that with us. I think that is the new definition of slave is an excellent way of describing what that spirit was of our ancestors that came over there. I think that's a great definition. I think it's ownership, and I think it's exactly what a prime minister of a new nation should do, is begin to create and re-identify negative terms that have been used in negative ways towards descendants of American slaves, and we should turn it and recreate it into positive things. And
Yeah,
so, thank you for sharing that with us. I would love to say, if I could add in a description for just the letter E, I would like the letter E to stand for elect, God's elect.
well, now here's the thing that you have to understand. When you are in power, you have the power to define. And we are empowered, and we will add the letter E to the word slave. Elect. We are
Elect.
God's elect. He said the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. And the last culture that has introduced to his human family is the American slave. They bred slaves in this country. They created a new culture over 400 years ago. And so it's that culture's turns time. I'm not going religious on you or anything like that, but I like going spiritual on you because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we have to operate in truth because it's only knowing truth is what makes you free. Knowing a lie, incorrect data keeps you in bondage, my brother. And it's time to set the captives free. And I've accepted a call on my life to go after those who are lost, those that don't have any direction, those that need hope, those that's looking for another way out, and then helping to set them free mentally, emotionally, and economically. We need leaders to make this happen. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And where we are right now in the country, North America, it lacks true leadership. And so we have to be the leaders. We have to show the people the A, B, C, D, E, F, G way of getting out of their condition. And I'm so excited. And being a pilot, I've been trained flying. I've got 42 years under my belt of being a pilot. I know how to move people from A to B. I'm so excited. I've moved over 1 million passengers. So, but just being the prime minister and having been ordained and all of the above, I got to operate in truth. We're supposed to worship our creator in spirit and in all truth. Because it's only knowing truth is what makes you free, my brother. And the people are in bondage right now. But because of what we're doing in this process, I believe this is going to be the vehicle and the doorway to help people reach their full potential as they walk on the planet. I'm excited.
Well, thank you, Prime Minister. And I think that's a great time for a public service announcement.
Oh.
Right. Hey, so public service announcement is calling all leaders. Calling all leaders that
Call
are
to
looking
action.
for something new. Call to action for all you leaders out there who are looking for
clear direction, a
Thank
plan, a
Thank
process. Because there's different, let me share this with you about leadership, my brother, because a lot of folks, that's what's lacking in our communities and our urban areas. There's 5 types of leadership. There's the position. That is those that have titles like president, mayor, governor. Those are positions where people have to follow. Then there's the next level is permission, where people follow you because of relationship. They like what you're talking about. Where are you going? I like you. We got a good relationship. You, my brother. I'm willing to give you permission to lead me. Next level is production. That's those out there making things happen and people see results and say, they're successful. I want to hang out with them. They're creating positive result. And then there's people development. This is those that reproduce themselves in other people. And then there's personhood. And then there's one I want to add to it, and that is leading leaders. This is one
Okay.
that say, here is where we are. Here's where we need to go. And here's the ABCDEFG process to get us to the new destination. And I see myself as a leading leader because I understand where we are. We've been dependent, we're powerless, and we've been programmed thus far for failure. And where we need to go is to knowledge, wealth, power, interdependency. We're in a new, we have shifted to the information age, so it's a new ball game. And we need to come back and do exactly what we're doing, gathering our folks together around this process here and helping them learn, unlearn, and relearn so we can take them to the new system, because we're in a new knowledge-based economy. It's a different paradigm and we have to change. So I'm excited.
Well, that leads us right into goals, because in any circumstance where you get strong people that are willing to listen, because people's time is really valuable to them, there's goals.
Well, let's talk about it.
Short-term and long-term goals. So let's talk about the American Slave Incorporation's goals, their overall goals. And I know that I'm glad you brought this screen up, because this is the short-term immediate target right now. And that is focusing on the U.S. Census this year when we go to vote. The American slave needs to be recognized and acknowledged from this country, and we will be by other nations. But we really would like to start with our mother country here and get that acknowledgement and that recognition of what they wrote in the Constitution. So please elaborate with us, Prime Minister, on the goals for ASI.
Well, one of the immediate goals for us, and since there's $500 billion have been set aside in this 2020 census that they'll be sharing among the different cultures for programming to help to empower them. And one of the first things that we need to do, we need to register on the 2020 census on page 7, box 8, and you can see it on the screen there, write in American slave. If enough of us do that, they're going to have to give up the resources for our culture so we can begin to empower us. That's something that we can do immediately, all of us. But you have to be willing to acknowledge that you are a descendant of American slave. And this has been our culture. And it's time to do it right now, here in 2020. One of the next goals that we have for our culture, we want to talk about reparation. Economic reparation and community repairing. Maybe in the next video, we can elaborate on this piece more. But for right now, I think what we need to do is focus on, if we can just do this piece here, our listening audience, when the people come to ask you about what's your culture, what's your race, page 7, box 8, write in American slave. I don't want to give out too much information. If we just do this one piece here for right now, make this become laser focused on this goal, we accomplish it, it's going to do a whole lot for us. It'll open up the door for finances to come to us so we can begin to heal our culture. And the other thing, since we're talking about it, I think that we need to, for example, on Thursday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're bringing the fight to Louisville, Kentucky. That's one of our goals.
Okay.
Dr. King says the next battle that we fought for Negroes will be out of the economic battlefield. And so the economic battlefield, we're picking a spot. We want to become laser and razor sharp focus. We want to make Louisville, Kentucky, the economic battlefield, because that's the home and headquarters of the American Slave Inc. That's where our founder, Mr. Norris Shelton, launched this movement. And also, too, the Senator Mitch Connolly, he's head of the Senate of the United States. That is his home, too. So we might as well bring the battle right there to Louisville, Kentucky. On Thursday, on every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, the First Lady of Reparation, she has her nationwide syndicate show. And so all of us can begin to just listen in. From there, we can begin to get instruction on the things that we need to do as we move forward. That's what I'm recommending to us for those two little things right now.
Yeah, I think that makes it connects the dots for me. It connects the dots. You know, having a specific plan for reparations, I think, makes it easier for everyone. And I know that that's a loaded topic. I know that we're not necessarily asking for anything, but we're demanding it be recognized. And then we'll see what happens from that standpoint. But reparations has been a hot topic in this country, as you know. And earmarking part of that designation for community repairing makes a lot of sense. And again, that's a loaded topic. We can use that for another series, but I'm glad that you explained it because it does make sense. And I don't think up to this point we've made any comment towards reparations. And so we understand that this is a business economy and that we're here as American Slave Incorporation to do business in that economy. And not only to do business in this economy, but other nations' economies. That's because right. We're able to do nation business. So yeah, the short-term goal of using the U.S. Census and getting recognized on page 7, box 8 as American slave is the legal way of entering the game. So if you want to be associated with what your ancestors have laid before us, we have to go to the playbook. And the playbook says that you have to be called by who the business says that you are. I don't think that American Indians have a problem with marking the box American Indians.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever, because that led to their emancipation. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And the Jewish people neither.
Because it led to their emancipation.
However, but because of lacking in knowledge and a lack of leadership is the reason why we are where we are. If they would have took care of this issue after the American Civil War, properly documented the American slave culture, we wouldn't be having this discussion today, because they would have been properly acknowledged and they would have been put in the American economic pecking order, and therefore we wouldn't have this issue. But because it left the paperwork flapping in the wings, we have to address it now. And so we're addressing it. And also too, we're moving forward with different strategies. The American Slave Inc. as the foundation, it was the foundation of our society, slavery. And
That's
therefore
right.
We have the process in place. It's been recognized by the state of Kentucky and the IRS. And they're waiting on us to come go do business. So I'm so excited. And I look forward to our next show to talk about economic reparation and community repairing as we take our people from where they are to where they need to be. I feel like I just landed the airplane. Boom. It's nice landing. I'm having fun.
Yeah, hey, hold on. 3 Ertz ain't good on the plane. We just want to hear that one. We don't want it. Okay, we don't want to be. Okay.
I try and grease her on.
As always, Prime Minister, we're honored with your time. We know that your time is extremely short and important to you. I know that you're going to go on the radio show today with the American Slave Incorporation out of Louisville with the First Lady of Reparations. So we're excited. We hope that video lands on our DAS Today page. And we just want to thank everyone else again for their time. We want you to please share and subscribe. And until next time, this is DAS Today and Aaron and our Prime Minister, Dr. Gerald Higginbotham, coming to you. And the message is, if you want to get in the game, properly identify yourself so it can add value to your life. This is a business in this country, in this nation. It's time to do nation business as the American slave nation.